Hello, today we have with us Vita Shield. She is the Talent Acquisition Manager with Tarkett North America. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions about your company. We'd love for students to know about the positions available at Tarkett to see if their skills match what you're looking for.
Okay.
So Vita, can you tell me a little bit about your company?
Yeah, sure. So Tarkett North America, we're actually a global company headquartered out of Paris, but the North American headquarters are actually in Solon, Ohio. So that's a suburb southeast of Cleveland, basically. We are a flooring manufacturer, sort of the nuts and bolts of it. And so when you think about the three largest, I guess, like business units for us, we have residential products, we have commercial products, and then we have the sports segment. And so residential is exactly what you would think that is. It's home-based products. So carpeting, which we call soft surface, or any type of hard surface flooring. Usually it's a vinyl composite type of tiling flooring. So also we manufacture, you think about, we call them accessories, but if you think about the wall base or the trim around the borders of your flooring, we sell that as well as stair tread products. We do that both in residential and the commercial space. And then with the sports division, I guess if flooring can be considered sexy, that's like the sexy products, right? Mm-hmm. So from a recognition standpoint, right? So you think about LeBron James's home, right? Like we literally have had, very well-known athletes, that we've installed flooring for. The brand that people are most familiar with is called Field Turf. So when you think of NFL artificial turf products, we are the largest in North America as far as that goes. We do also multi-purpose sports courts. So it could be track and field, hardwood for basketball, etc. So pretty much anywhere that your feet are at is kind of where our products are at. And we do about $4 billion of business globally. And about a third of that is actually in the United States, or North America, excuse me. And I guess when you think about just local to your, EGCC, so within Youngstown, Ohio, we have a facility in Middlefield, Ohio, which essentially the opportunities we're trying to promote today are for the Middlefield campus. And we call it a campus because it has a manufacturing site as well as a distribution center. And again, manufacturing flooring. But with that specific operation, we tend to have kind of like a busy season that hits late spring to summer. So if you guys can imagine, a lot of times companies, as well as, people who are doing their home improvements and stuff, they want to get it done when the weather's good and whatever. So we tend to see upticks in our business at that point in time. But typically what you'll see for college students would be the production team sort of roles. So it's manufacturing center, obviously. So you'd be on site working with the manufacturing lines, very, I would say production driven, so you have to be willing to be hands-on and work the schedule. But there are very flexible schedules for students. So when you think about just schedules that for the most part would be outside of the typical class time, and I know sometimes students have classes in the evenings or whatever, but we typically tend to do part-time for 4-hour shifts, right? Starting after 3 p.m. So it's usually 3 to 8 or 7 to 11. Those are usually, again, for part-time. And decent starting pay. I mean, we're starting off at 17 an hour, and we actually are trying to identify ways to potentially retain, really good students that come in. And so we're talking a little bit around retention bonuses and what that might look like. But 17 an hour is where it starts out, and that's just the part-time type of roles. The full-time would actually be for graduating seniors. And I would say that if you are someone who has a degree area that's similar to like supply chain management, operations management, business administration, if you're an athlete and you've been like a team captain or, in your activities around campus, you're a leader. Mm-hmm. And so, that could be in any capacity, but you've had to lead in projects or any type of atmosphere that might be work related. We tend to like to hire production team leads, which is a production supervisor, coming out of college. And so we really look for those leadership skill sets. So again, a lot of athletes tend to have some really good teaming skills and things like that. But again, leadership is a big part of that. I know I just rambled, but go ahead.
Nope, that's great. Those are a lot of the questions that I was going to ask you. So you hit on the main points.
Yeah.
We do a lot of resume work with our students. That's as career development specialists. That's our main thing. So you feel it's important then to highlight those leadership roles. We have student ambassadors. We have PTK, honorary society roles. So, is that important then to highlight that on the top of their resume for these types of positions? Oh, Vita, I'm sorry, you're on.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, sorry about that. I tried to mute it as we're in COVID. I think we kind of talked about this offline. I actually have a 2-year-old, so she's dancing in the background, so you might hear a little bit of music or something. But but you were asking about the leadership skills, right? We absolutely look for the leadership qualities. You can't see it, but I'm wearing a shirt that says kind, brilliant, and oh so resilient. That really is kind of like what we're looking for. We're looking for people, we call them the 4 C's, right? But from a value standpoint, we're typically looking for individuals that fit the values that we espouse as a company, right? So we call them the 4 C's. So people who are committed, people who are collaborative, creative, and then have this customer sort of focus, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you think about the collaborative piece of it, good team building skills, able to partner, a good teammate, somebody who can take instruction, is humble enough to, basically be able to work with anyone at any level of the organization, no matter where they're coming in. And for leadership in the company, we actually have our own, what we call the Tarkett leadership competencies. And so if you think of Tarkett, Tarkett, we have several, what's an acronym basically for us from a competency standpoint. And they're really just our leadership traits. And so we're always looking for individuals that have a strong, not just presence, like the professional presence, but, have a solid business acumen. So as an example, and it doesn't matter if you're applying to Tarkett or any company, as you come in to interview, we're hoping that you know something about the company, right? So you've done a little homework, so you know enough to maybe examine the financials and what we do as a business, and come loaded with some information that you can, have a good dialogue with the interview team. People who are accountable, we count that as a leadership trait. Accountability just means, that you hold yourself to a standard. So if you have to be answerable for an error that's made on the job, or, even lessons learned. A lot of times students are coming in and it's like an entry level situation, right? Like they don't have a lot of work experience just yet. Mm-hmm. And so what we like to hear is examples that you have from your academic life, or, part-time jobs that you've had or whatever, where you have had to hold yourself accountable, or, shows that you've gotten results in some form or fashion. And, just coming armed, I would say, with the understanding of what the companies are looking for. So it's always a good question, I would say, to ask the interview teams, kind of what do you expect of what are your values, and kind of what do you expect of those that are coming? Because they'll tell you pretty directly, like I just shared kind of our Tarkett leadership traits. We have like 7 of them. And, we really just look for folks that want to take initiative, have had previous experience doing so in whatever capacity, and are just good people to work with. Like, if you just think really basic terms, and if you were the hiring manager, outside of the actual job description that you have to fit the minimum requirements for, most times people just want to work with somebody they like, like, can I see myself working with them? And so when we can see ourselves working with you, because you're bringing your whole self and your personality and all of that, we count that as leadership too, aside from what you fit on the minimum requirements for the postings.
Great. It sounds like there's a lot of leadership opportunity. It would be a great opportunity for students to get their foot in the door, a great starting wage. So Vita, if they're looking to apply, is there a website that they should go to?
Yep. If you go to Google or any web browser basically, and type in Tarkett, and then careers, you will be led to our Tarkett careers homepage. And so I would say, just for your sake, at your college, you would want to search the Middlefield, Ohio jobs, basically, and then whatever pops up. Usually you'll see the team member, the production associates. If they're a graduating senior and they really are interested in leadership opportunities, more so the team lead or production supervisor roles, then we would ask that they would just, type in, look for the locations in Northeast Ohio, Chagrin Falls, Middlefield, and if the ones that are available will pop up.
Okay.
And then there's obviously, other job functions too, right? So, there's engineering, supply chain, any type of other operations roles. I mean, you can obviously search the career site for those, but we tend to not have as many entry level positions usually. And what I think is a good experience is if you've had internships in the past or co-ops that give you a little bit of exposure to, supply chain or manufacturing or sales even. We often have sales openings. We call them territory sales reps or account executives. Those roles are probably the ones that are consistently open. But I'm always willing also that if anybody wants to reach out to me, they can, and you can feel free to give them my contact or whatever if they have questions and want to inquire about the positions as well.
Okay, great. We'll have that information. We'll have the website attached with this link and all of Vita's information if they can contact you. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time, Vita. And I hope we get some great candidates for you. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It really is a good company to work for. And I always think that I'm always very transparent. So if anyone has questions or they just want to know a little bit more about the company or kind of what we're going through, even in the midst of COVID, because a lot of businesses are impacted obviously through this. I am more than happy to have a conversation and dialogue with any students and be very transparent with them about, who we are, what we do. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.